live? Are we live? Yes, we are live. Okay, so the goal of this little uh, experience is to prepare the PCAM chat topic for tomorrow live, which means that I'm going to work on it. And if you have any interest, and if you are interested to share the experience or to share the screens, you will let me know, and I invite you in. So, uh, the very beginning of preparing a PKM chat is to select a topic. Select a topic, it usually goes around a blog post. So just allow me 1 second, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so a blog post will be prepared directly on WordPress. This is a little bit like what it looks like. I have a template for all the topics, and the template will bring the general layout of the topic, and it will bring this part of the title. When the data of the topic is not ready, this here will just be a hyphen like this. And when the date of the topic is defined, the topic will be changed for that. And you see that in the slug, this is the slug of the post. The slug doesn't contain the date when the chat is taking place. This is for SEO reasons. And here we have the long title. Long because for a title of a blog post, we can arrange more than 40 characters, while for the same topic title, when the topic is being used for tweeting, it's better to make it way shorter. So here we have a certain number of shortcodes. There is a Never plugin. The Never plugin is used, and the Never plugin is adding some very precise shortcodes. So this, for example, is just the chat button invites. When you look into the final web page, this is what it's doing. It's all this is managed by this simple shortcode that you could see. So it will display the date of the chat in different zone of the world. So basically New York, Paris, and Sydney. And it will provide automatically this link. This link will bring us to the word clock, and here we are going to see the time of the event in various places in the world. So like this, we are sure that our audience and invited people are going to see it at the right time, and we can add it to the calendar directly. It's not going to work for me because I have no calendar installed, but this will allow you to put it into your calendar once for all and to be sure you're not going to forget it. Aside from that, it's just boilerplate, and it has not been completed yet. So this is the blog post. You see here all the boilerplate information, and we have a certain number of places here. TBC. TBC means to be completed. Okay, so this is the publishing document. All right, so we are back on the screen. We have been through the sharing of the blog post and how it goes. So, let me do it like this. Let me do it like this. I should share. I'm afraid I didn't share the link here. Right. Okay, so we shared that directly. What I'm going to do is to show you a little bit this part of my organization. So how is it going to work? We are going to share now. Up, come back, please. We are going to share this part. So I'm using another browser for everything regarding the PKM chat handle. So the PKM chat handle, we have it here. Okay, it's PKM chat. It's a dedicated handle for this Twitter chat. It matches the hashtag. It's not really necessary. There is no really rule anywhere that says that it must match, but it's of course much nicer if it fits. So this account, you see, is only following very few people. It's not a following account. It's not a discussion. It's not a two-side way. So there are a certain number of followers who are following mostly to be sure that they get the questions right. There is a home page, which is the home page where we have the topics, as we have seen just before. The topics that I'm right now preparing will be here, will be displayed here. You see the tweets that I just prepared, inviting people to join and so on are here. So this is the account. And I'm going to use this page when the chat is taking place so that I can see who is engaging and mentioning PKM chat, and to welcome the people and retweet their participations. Okay, so this is really the page where I'm going to be. And then I have a page on the Buffer app account linked to PKM chat, which is different from the one I'm using normally. And here, I will see the analytics from the last chat, and I will see potentially the analysis, but to be honest, I'm not looking into it. I'm not so much for the egg food and how much reach and how much this. What is interesting and important is how people engage. That's what is interesting. And we will see here, we could see normally the last chat. I don't know if we can still see the last chat. Doesn't matter so much. When we are going to process the preparation of the chat, this is going to start to fill. Okay, so let's stop sharing here. Let's going back to the camera. Here we are. Do we have viewers? We have absolutely no viewers, but it doesn't matter so much because working out loud is not necessarily about being watched. So what are we going to do next? What is interesting is that in PKM chat, there are, of course, the preparation of the topic. There is also software that I wrote, which could be used for any chat. It's not limited to PCAM chat. It could be used for whatever chat we want. And this application is going to take what we prepare and to run the chat for us when it's going to run. So let's have a look at on the topic, how the topic is normally prepared. For this, I'm going to share again my screen. And I'm going to share on this. Okay. So this is how it goes. We have a Google Drive where all these documents are stored. And on this Google Drive, we have a page to prepare the chat itself. So it's a template, and it's not on WordPress, because on WordPress you can only have the final result. While at some stage of the design of the chat, you want to be able to share this with many people, at least with a core group, and to have the feedback and to have the opinion and to have different things, different interaction. So I'm going to share. You're going to see that it's very funny, because I'm going to share. Now it's shared with 12 people, which are the core group of. But I'm going to make a link so that all of you now can join and comment on the document. Okay, so I'm going to tweet. Maybe you don't see that because I don't share this one anymore. But you will see it on your Twitter feed. We are going to share this. Now, if you go back here, look at what happens now. That since we shared the link directly on Twitter, it's not so much people who are reading the tweets. It's more that there are tons of search engine and application which are automatically processing tweets, and they are also going to see this document. Okay, I need to do a little break because I talk too much. So they will leave. We are going to wait just a little bit, and slowly we are going to see this go down. And possibly one of you will join the discussion. So I prepared a certain number of ideas. I'm going to share this screen now. I'm going to stop this one. And I'm going to share my Desktop filer. Desktop filer is a part of Never, which is not released yet. Likely will never be released because, as you see, it's not really finished and so on. So this is more temporary product. And here we have a file. You see that's all the notes that I'm collecting all day long. So it could be things I read, it could be notes I take, it could be screenshot I'm taking from whatever. I'm not limited to web pages. I'm not limited to things which happen on the internet, which is a big benefit compared to a product like Digo or Feedly or whatever. And when from time to time, I will create a subfolder, like you see here, this is my subfolder, and I will bring into this subfolder all the notes that I want to use for a particular goal. And here we have this goal is to prepare this chat tonight. So this is what I have. Certain number of ideas that I pick from here and there. And this is discussion I had with. So these are questions that has been imagined by Ellen. I realized that I don't know how to pronounce her name. Blunden, I think. I can read it, but I never pronounce it. And I'm going to put this into the document here. So you don't see the document, but if you are watching the session, you could see this document live. So I didn't talk about it, but I choose for this session tomorrow a format in I choose for tomorrow a format that we used last time, which is a format where we have 4 questions in only 45 minutes. And after this 4 questions in 45 minutes, there will be 15 minutes where chatters can engage one with the other and continue the discussion, not anymore based on questions, but based on engaging and interaction between the chatters. And this seems particularly suited for this discussion because it's really a part of the group will discover the other part of the group. So we have the questions. And behind in the topic, if you are following, okay, here it is. Chat is an occasion to discover, thinking out loud, from tweets set already. There is, so this is the tagline. It's supposed to stay short. There is no prerequisite to join. Prerequisite to join. Everyone interested or already practicing can join. Questions are guiding our discovery of the topic and will be followed. It's also the occasion for those who know nothing on the topic to learn and locate grids are more advanced and can serve as referee for and from whom more advanced and from whom they could so this is really social learning taking place. I'm going to add this social learning tag. Okay, so this is very simple, very short. It's just to give an idea of how it's prepared. Now we are going to place a certain number of links. I'm not sharing this anymore, but finishing off that was first done by his, I don't remember his last name. Okay. And okay, and we're going to keep this link and add the link separately here. We're doing like a curation. This was an article written by or about Ellen Blendon on working out for the working out loud week. I'm going to give it as a reference. This is Jane Bozart's painter. Okay. This is via Stan Garfield. In it's rather recent. few more links here. This is from the book from John Stepper. Not sure I gave a link to his post already, but this is going to take place, and maybe somebody can suggest me edits and links. Right now I'm alone on this post, but by Harold George, the regular chat. Okay. And our friend John Stepper. Suggests that we schedule time in advance for that. And Sasha was showing her workflow. Okay. The benefit of using this Google Doc is to have a place for discussions. If I was the only one, which I am right now, preparing this chat, I could go directly on the WordPress blog and type directly on the WordPress blog. It would be just as good. Now, if the topic is prepared a long time in advance, if there is a group of people cooperating on the topic like it happened on some topics in the past, then a Google Doc makes sense. Now, I have a link also from Ellen Cramp, a link that she shared as part of the World Week started by Jeff Merrill. Okay. Okay. All right. Just this is funny. It's actually a link that I get from a blog post that I get from somebody else from Twitter. And the idea is very clever, is just by looking at what is trending on GitHub, it gives an idea of what developers are currently working on. So if you want to have an idea of what the general community of all the people who are designing web apps, general infrastructure system, just by going there, you have an idea of what is going on in the developer community in 1 second. Okay. Okay. So this could be the topic. I'm not totally happy with that. I'm far from being totally happy with that. Would be more. It's Brian Williams. Okay, and then I had a few quotes from John Stepper, Williams. There is an S at the end. Yes. Okay. A definition by John. Okay. Working out loud is an approach to work and life. It helps you achieve your goals and feel better about work while helping you discover more possibilities. Five components of according to okay, like this. Are in the visible work, really. Okay. That are often raised. Always. I like it because questions are really what many people would wonder, and by listing the question, we anticipate the objections and we can directly go to the objection instead of ignoring them and more or less doing around them. Okay, so this is a little bit what the topic could look like. What our Google Hangout is, and we are still with 0 viewer, which is absolutely wonderful. Never mind. I'm taking a little look at the thing. I'm going to share the link again. Not sure. So many people. Let's go and share. Okay, so I'm going to share again my screen here. we were looking into the preparation of this document, which is really the kernel of the which is really the kernel of the chat. So what we are going to do now, which is a little bit dumb because I'm alone to do it, but the idea is the same, that I'm going to put this back into the WordPress document and publish it. So I copy it and I'm going to stop sharing this page and I'm going to share now my WordPress editor. Okay. And now I'm going to bring back what I prepared. So let's just copy everything and reorganize it. So I'm not very happy to do this type of thing, but the tagline is going to go here between the H3. The intro is going to be plainly here. As you see, a lot of the uh, of the layout of the visual has been lost. Never mind. Links will go into the link section. And the questions are going to go into the question section. Here I need to put them one after the other. Quite rare that I put the question so early. Normally I would have a second thought on it. But it never mind. You see, there is this mention questions are subject to change without notice. So anyway, even if the questions are changed later, it's not going to be a big deal. Good. Let's maybe save this just for sake of completeness. Here it is. This is what it looks like now. So you see, it starts to be much more interesting. And we are going to do a little bit of WordPress editing. I'm absolutely sure that half of the viewers of these videos are much better than me at that. So let's put this as a quote. Let's put this. This is a quote. This is a quote. This is a link. Action stepper. I'm going to. I think there is a John stepper column, if I'm not wrong. Ah, good. Okay. Right now we have the links. It's a little bit slow to edit. I'm not going to impose you all that. So let's just save here. I'm going to modify it later in the quietness of. Okay. Right. So we have this post. What we are going to do, I'm going to check here that it works fine. And we're going to do something very important. We are going to take the link of the framing post here just by copying it. And we are going to place it into the script. Now we are going to move our attention on the script side. So the script is shared already. And we are going to return to it. It is again on this Google Drive. And the script is here. This is the script. Okay. So let's look a little bit what we have here. I'm going to place the link that I just took. This is a script. The script is basically three types of lines. First type of lines are a name followed by a colon and a definition. This is for defining what I would call variables of the script. So there is one variable which is the title. There is another variable which is title 1. In our case, it's not used. Let's put NA, not applicable. Pre-reading, that's going to be a link to the blog post that we just finished. Next topic. Next topic is the topic of the next week. That's one of the huge benefits of having done a calendar of all the chats, is that I'm not obliged to brainstorm at the very last moment on that. And next week, it's going to be the 6 months of PKM chat. So we are going to run a chat on the chat itself and do a little bit of brainstorming about how it goes and so on. So it's called the state of PKM chat. And the next day is May 13. So these are all variables. Now we have a second type of lines, which are a number followed by a semicolon. And this is tweets that will be sent exactly at that time. So 5 minutes after the beginning of the chat, there is going to be this tweet sent. If we look at the tweet itself, this \n indicates carriage return line feed because we are going to produce pictures out of this tweet. So the tweet will be sent as a tweet, and in parallel, a picture will be built, and on the picture, we would like to see line breaks so that it appears on 3 lines and stay readable even in a large font. So this tweet indicate that we are going to send 4 questions over 45 minutes, followed by a free chat. Questions are numbered. Good. We could add more details. This was from last week. We could add, for example, that what would be clever would be to add this definition, for example, which has a big benefit of being short. Add this one. Here. Let's put it in 3. Okay, and now we'll have the question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. That's all. Oh, you can tell me, but well, Bruno, there is a problem. This is not going to do the chat. I've been so after minute 46, it's let's share means we are going to switch to the second part of the chat where people are going to interact one with the other. Bruno, this is not fair. It doesn't look very much like a PKM chat that I know. It's just really the very minimum of the script. Where do you define everything else? Aha, that's a trick. Everything else is defined in base.txt. This is a much longer script, you see, but this is made of all things which are stable, things which are staying the same. Okay, let's look a little bit what is going there. There is the first line, which are the invites. And we are going to invite people based on their time zone. So you see, we start by inviting people in Australia, Melbourne, and we take them from the list, from the invite list that we have, those that have been tagged with O's. And this is the message that we are going to send them. And you see here, we see the variables like the hashtag of the chat and the time where the chat is going to take place and the topic of the chat. You remember the topic that we just defined here, the title, and the pre-readings and so on. And so for each invite and each time zone and each tag, we can have a different invite. So this is interesting because you know that Twitter is like a huge wall where messages are scrolling from top to bottom, and whatever is outside from the wall that you have in front of you is lost. So if I send all the invites at the time which is proper for, let's say, for Europe, most of our Australian tweets will just not see them. Of course, they will see them because they are mentioned, but even though some of them receive a lot of mentions and they would not see our invites. So this is the reason why invites are going by batch like this. Now we have variables defined like the background template of the pictures, so the template for the pictures and the background file, and who is the dedicated host. So you see here we have PKM chat as a dedicated host. If my dedicated host was something totally different from the hashtag, it would be possible to define it here. And what are the other hosts? And then we have here the warming up time. So you see the time can be negative as well. So at minus 200, which is 2 hours and a half before, sorry, 3 hours and a half before, 3 hours and 20 minutes before, I'm going to send a very general tweet with no mention of where it's taking place. And then at minus 180, join us, and there will be the time. You see TT is the time. Okay, everywhere you see TT is the time. Minus 150, this is 2 hours, 1 hour and a half, and so on and so on. And so the nearer and nearer we go from the time of the beginning of the chat, and the nearer they are. Okay, and then we reach a time where the chat is starting. Welcome to Twitter chat today, and so on and so on. Today, framing post. And here you see what I call the ritual of the chat. So the ritual of the chat is taking place here, and we could see that everything that you used to see if you have already been in a PCAM chat. Here we are defining the templates question, how the questions are made based on the number and the label. We could adjust that as well. And then the question written. And here we are going to go into the question written for, because we have 4 questions. The system will automatically check which are the best time to send 4 questions when there are only 4 questions. And we could adapt that. There is no limitation. We could even redefine the written into our script of the session for tomorrow. We could use the general one or overload it. Okay, and so the questions are going to take place here in the script, and then we have the closing of the final sequence. Thank you for joining. Join our group on LinkedIn. Did you enjoy the chat, etc., etc. Next chat is, and you see here, next chat, next topic. This is where we are reusing next chat, next topic that have been defined here. So I'm not obliged to go back to the general ritual again and again. I can just trust it and just concentrate on what has to be changed here. So let's go back into the place where we prepared the chat. And we are going now to pick our questions. Here, 4 questions. And we are going to place them here. That's a time where it's going to be hard. Good. So why is it hard? Because you see, it's too long. I don't have a counter on this editor. It's not this editor provided. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a tweet which is coming long after, just to make sure you see. And I'm going to use this trick. Measure 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is the very, very longest you can have. Okay. So let's take the first question. What does whirl mean for you? How do you whirl? All right. So you see here we have a break. We're going to break the line at this space. Normally it should be at 32. Okay, we broke it a little bit too early, but doesn't matter since the question is short. It will fit nicely. Okay. Uh, Here we are going to break here. All right. Two. Not going to spend too much time on the questions like this. So you see, this is a. I can already shortcut this into WOL. Still, it's way too long. So the fact of having a question which is conditioned by, I mean, Q3, which is already conditioned by, if you use it in your company, uh, uh, strategically it's not very good because it means that all the people who don't use it for their company, plus all the people who don't practice WOL yet, plus all those who practice it in their company but don't feel they could or dare share about it, all these people will not reply to this question. It's going to be very limited. So let's just drop this limitation. We will self-limitate themselves enough. Now, last question. How has WA enabled you to develop personally or professionally? Okay. Let's look at the length of the question. 20, 30, 32 would be something like here. Okay. We could do outside from the flow of the question, we could do something like a Q4 this, Q4B. All right, it's not perfect, but there is the idea. Let's share our experience of WA sections are ants. But so now this file is this script is ready. I'm going to save this. This one is already saved. This one is saved all the time. And I'm going to stop sharing this screen. Go back to you for a while. How many viewers we have for our working out load session? Not many. Doesn't matter. It's funny. It starts to be funny. Oh, I like this sentence that I wrote here. Let's fix it here. Okay. So, what is going to happen next is going to happen mainly in my script here. I'm going to show you now as how I am really running the chat. So this is today I'm using script files. It is, of course, in my plans to put everything behind a nice web app. It wouldn't be very complex, but since now I'm the only user of it, it doesn't make any sense. I have a few commands that I'm running every week. So the first command is going to be to reset the invite list, because you remember that the you remember that the invite is based on a list. This list is not a Twitter list. It could be. The system is handling Twitter list or database list the same, and it's handling any combination you can do. So you could invite from one list, from another list, or invite the intersection, or invite the people from this list, but not this list, and so on and so on. All the possibilities are available, and we could see them on the ritual based file. Was invited last week is now no more invited. Good. Now here we are, and we are going to I'm not going to list who is invited, but I'm going to run a script and to run it in simulation mode 35. Okay, it's not very explicit. Basically, 60/60 is when you reach the real execution, and whenever you move from 5 to 5, a little bit more of the work will be done, but nothing will be visible unless you reach 65. So this is just for me to check the syntax of the script and to check that my database is working fine. You see there are plenty of trace. I can see that people are getting invited. You see the list of the people who are going to be invited, and this is what is going to be sent to buffer. The system seems to be happy with that. Let's run it a second time. So the reason I said it, I run it a second time to be sure that all the pictures that have been computed are now pushed to the server. Good. 66 was good. Let's try now to run for 66. I did a few changes on the software, so it's not impossible that we have some glitch. Let's see what is going on. Now we are in the time. You see, it's 3 a.m. for me. We are at a time where the system is smart enough to understand that if you are in the time zone of of Australia, it's okay to send you a shout out and a mention to invite you. But if you are staying in Europe, it's not the right time to invite you. So whenever I run the script, it will only send the invite for the people who are likely to be reading their Twitter stream at that time. So everything happened on the Google Drive. Let's stop sharing the script. And let's go back to, we could go back, for example, we could share, you remember this browser that I had where I am following only the PKM chat account. So we could go here and you see now the tweets that are coming out. So at 3 a.m. now, we are precisely what it is right now in Australia. If it's 3 a.m. here, it's about 3 p.m. there. Not exactly true, but it's somewhere around noon. Okay. So for them, it's okay. You see, the system is optimized in the way that, for example, if they are in a space to invite 2 or 3 people in one tweet, it's going to be done this way. All right. So it's interesting because some of the people may recognize their names. They are wondering why they are invited automatically every week. This is the reason why. Of course, if you want to be removed from the invite list, you just tweet PKM chat and say, please remove me or unsubscribe or whatever. I'm going to take care, of course, to remember you from the list. But the list is not very large. They are really mostly regulars of the Twitter chat. So what is going on here is that it seems that it stopped. I'm a little bit surprised because normally we should have California as well. Let me check. I'm sorry, I did been a little bit too slow because California just finished. It's 6 p.m. 8 past 6 p.m. in California. It means that California will not be invited anymore. It's too late for California. So I'm going to tweak a little bit and say, do an extra today and let's invite people until 7 p.m. Let's run the script again. Meanwhile, before we run the script again to have the Californian people invited, let's look a little bit at what happened on our buffer account. Not much. Doesn't seem that our buffer is yet very happy. As I mentioned, I did a change and didn't have the occasion yet to. Oh, okay. So this is the invitation page on the WordPress blog, and the list, there is a list inserted, which there are two sections actually. One which is covering all the tweets with the hashtag PKMChat, so we can see what is going on. Actually, you could even follow the chat from here directly. If you reach on this page, you will see the chat going on the side of the page. Below, you have a list of all the participants of Twitter chats. And here it's interesting because we can see you can see, just favoriting something on the fly, which is interesting for me. Here you can see what regular participants of PKM chat are doing right now. Well, it's interesting because you see Nick Leffler, which is a regular, just posted what I'm working on. which is a way to work out load. Yeah. So we could give him a retweet because he's in the topic. And possibly we could add his blog post to our framing post. Okay. So what's going on here? Everything seems to be perfectly nice. It's just a little bit slow because it's processing all the pictures and sending them to the web server, and it's made with a lot of time a lot of pause and intervals, so that none of the computers involved, or not neither Twitter account nor buffer nor this computer nor the server is suddenly uh, overwhelmed by traffic and post and API changes. So this is why it takes time. There is absolutely no. It's not a question of CPU. It's just because it's made for so that it doesn't overload anything. So let's be just a little bit patient. Meanwhile, maybe I should go back here and stop the screen sharing. Like this, you have the privilege of looking at my nice face. All right. So Jeff Murray is running an interesting week. So let's retweet him. And maybe let's add his post to our framing post as well. Where are we here? It's not very fast, huh? I'm trying a new change I did using a new protocol to synchronize the pictures. It's not super good. Maybe I did not do the right choice. It's on progress. Meanwhile, I'm going to modify the post. Let's share the screen again. I'm going to add Jeff Merrill link. And Leffler link as well. Okay. Interesting because sometimes during the chat, some people are sharing some links as well. And the fact of having this blog post is interesting for me to prepare the chat. Like this, I'm more or less aware on the topic. I'm more or less sure that the questions are covering the topics that that I don't need to be an expert in the topic. I just need to be sure that there are not vast parts of knowledge that are left out. But after the chat, it happens very often that after the chat, when I see the links that have been shared, I'm completing this list and adding the list of some of the links that have been shared during the chat. So each topic framing post serve as a curation location for the topic in the future as well. The reference work I'm doing. It's deadly slow. It used to be much faster. Okay, doesn't matter so much. We have so much work to do here. So there's no time lost. Okay, too bad. So we are not very far from being finished. I have a few glitch here. I'm surely going to fix very easily. Looks great. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just to rerun the script. Remember the script that has been running in my background. And I'm just going to reshare again the browser, Firefox browser, which is where the action is taking place. Okay. So normally we should see the invitation for California coming out. Because I changed the time of day to match California as well. So how the pictures are done, it's very simple. The pictures are actually, there is a template which is in SVG format. SVG format is a format similar to HTML, derived from XML precisely. And SVG is a format where you can define graphic entities like background, text, vectors, circle, regions, color regions, make some edges with a certain width. You have plenty of possibilities. Normally, almost everything should be possible to describe in SVG. Everything graphic, I mean. And inside this template, there are some zones which will be replaced with the variables that we have seen in the script. Later, this SVG picture is captured into a PNG file. Why is it captured in a PNG file? Because most systems like Buffer will require pictures to be SVG to be PNG. They will not accept the SVG posting directly. So we have to go to PNG. So now you see, we expect, I'm not sure all these people are really in California, but that's the idea I have. Yes, Tom Spiglanin is in California. I'm pretty sure of it, unless he moved here recently. And Sam is also in California, so we are right. We just invited the people in California. So you see, the people in Europe are still not invited. The people on the East Coast are not invited because they are out of their working time. By repeating the script, let's say every 4 or 5 hours, everybody who has already been invited is not more invited. You see the people in Australia has not been invited again. So there is a system that prevents people to be invited twice. It failed once. I had so many complaints because it failed once. But now it looks like it's pretty safe. And so by running the script several times at different time of the day, we are sure we are inviting people at the time which is the most suitable for them. Now, if we look on Buffer now, look, the surprise that the chat is ready for us. You see, in the queue of Buffer, we have now, you remember in the general ritual, we have one tweet where there is no mention like this one you see is in 3 hours. The very first one has no mention of the time. So this one I can share it now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to share it now. And I'm going to go back into the analytics where it has been shared. Okay. And I'm going to rebuffer it. So, okay, it's not very clever. By sharing it and rebuffer it, I can reuse it several times. Now it's back into my queue. And I can, like this, have a tweet which is flexible for being retweeted whenever I need it. Okay. So here we have the invite. Let's look. You see the one that I just shared. I should. How comes I don't see it? Ooh, here it is. Okay, it took a little bit of time until it came. Buffer should not be considered as real time. It's more queue. So don't count on Buffer to be like a clock. If you say share now, it means share as quickly as possible. Anyway, even Twitter itself is not real time. If you can do the experiment by having 2 windows, one window where you tweet and one window where you look your account, you will notice that in some occasion it could happen that there is like 30 seconds between the two, between the time you post and the time you can see your tweet appearing. So this is one we shared via Buffer. All the others before the invites have been shared directly to Twitter. Doesn't make a huge difference, but it's just, yeah, you see a difference. Here the picture goes through Buff short URL, while here it's directly a link to the website. Okay, and here we have the notification. Some people start to retweet our invites. Thank you to them. So where are we now? We finished the blog post of the framing post. We saw how the process was going on to build this framing post and build the questions. We moved the question to the small script, which is the base of the chat runner, which is running the chat. We can see now that in our queue on buffer, if buffer is kind enough to show it back to me, buffer, please show me my queue. What you see here is that the 10 first tweets are already queued. Not more than 10 because a buffer in its free release is only taking 10 tweets in the queue. So that means we reach the beginning of the chat. I will run the chat runner again, let's say 5 minutes before the chat itself. And there it will go very quickly because there will be no more invites to do. There will be no more pre-chat tweets. All the picture will be loaded, so it will be extremely fast. And all the questions will come into the buffer at once. So this will going to take place 5-10 minutes before the chat. And this means that from that time, me, Bruno, as the host, I have only to concentrate on listening to what is discussed in the chat and possibly participate if I have something to say. Usually what I will do to participate will be to have a small pad somewhere, a small text pad, where I have a few IDs ready, and like this I can tweet faster. I'm doing it only for PKM chat because I'm the host. I don't have so much time to tweet and to write my tweets. Now we are going to see the very, very last segment of the experience. So I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to share again my where is it? Hey. Still working. Okay. So it's still sending pictures. This is not very optimum. This is something I changed. And okay, I could even stop it because what I'm going to show you just is how I run the statistic. I can run the analytics right now. The analytics will look into what happened in the chat and runtime. So since the date of the chat is in the future, you see here, you see I give the time in Zulu zone, which is the UTC zone. The chat didn't take place yet. So even if there are tweets exchanged right now with the PKM chat hashtag, normally I should have 0. The system is using a recording of the chat, and it's really looking into the slice corresponding to the time where the chat is running. It's also looking into tweets which are really corresponding to the chat. So if there is, for example, spammer going in the middle of the chat, it will not be catched by the analytics. If somebody is using the hashtag for totally out of scope, it will not be taken as well. It's very different from a system like hash tracking, which are just looking for the hashtag. They are not looking into the semantic or the structure of the conversation or to whom the people respond or whatever. Very different with Never. It's really looking into the conversation and basing the analytic on the conversation. The option here, catch up, will allow to query recent tweets also, so to accumulate what has been recording plus the catch up. Why? Because sometimes Twitter is not serving everything in real time, and you have to catch up to get back some tweets that escape to the real time recording. The other reason of the catch up is that it could happen that for some reason the recording was interrupted. So by adding this catch up sentence, I'm sure that the chat will be covered completely. The catch up is what a system like hash tracking or systems like Storyfire are using. This is one of the reasons why sometimes you experience that it's extremely slow, because they have to go back and look for these tweets, and it takes a long time. Like you see now, it's taking a long time. It's not always taking so long, I must say. Especially slow now. Okay, here it's finished. So you see 0 tweets. It's more or less normal. Nobody participated. And let's go back to this. Do we still share this? No, we are going to see later. Let's go back to the window that we share here. Now we are going to run the recap. So we are going to build the recap before the chat even started. Not a big deal. The system is able to do it. Again, it will only look into the time of the chat. So the benefit of it will be that everything will be ready. You see, it's able to realize there is no tweet, no participant, nothing. But the benefit will be that the blog post will be ready, and I will already have, if I run it a second time, I will already have the web page corresponding to this recap. So if I want to share the URL of the recap, I will have it ready before the chat starts. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I could take this tweet here. It's already ready, and it's okay. It corresponds to something which is valid. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. We are going to go again into our Mozilla. Okay. And we are going to watch this. Of course, the recap is empty, but it's there, ready to be filled. Okay, the date, even the date is proper. It's not the date. The title is okay. The list of participants will be empty. Everything will be empty, but the recap is ready. And as the chat progresses, the recap will fill. That's a very smart thing. You don't need to wait until you are at the end, like you could do with hash tracking or with Storyfy or whatever. It's on progress. And it can be modified several times after. You could run the recap, have a first jet of the recap just after the chat, and then you can go into the replay and select you could go into the replay and select some of the tweets and do selections like what are the 50 most important tweets, what are the interesting tweets, and based on this you can build new page in the recap. If you just need to get to 20 tweets, this is the most important 20 tweets of this chat. This is all possible with the system. It's very, very flexible and open. Now let's look a little bit at the last feature we are interested in, is how to put this back into the post. You remember the post? Let's go back to editing the post. Okay, that's a framing post. And the framing post at the very end, you have attributes, custom fields. So the start time of the chat has been informed. always in this Zulu format. Why I'm using the Zulu format is because like this, it's not depending on where the data is being modified or captured or whatever. So servers could be in California, it could be in France, the chat could take place in London. You don't know. At some stage, it becomes a nightmare to remember in which time to store things. So a good practice is to put it into Zulu zone for this type of data here. Also, the Zulu zone is not going to be affected by summer or daylight saving time. Now we have one more uh, slots we can save here, which is the slug of the recap. Okay, I'm not going to validate it because when the recap is valid, is informed, it means for the framing post, it means for the framing post that the chat is over, that is finished. And then these buttons that you see here will become automatically links to the recap. We can see this on a past. We can see this on a past post. From design to intent. Okay, you see here, I don't need to do anything else than just put this slug in place, and automatically the buttons becomes a participant list. Cool, isn't it? It's really minimum of things for maximum of effect. Now let's stop sharing this one. I'm back to you, and I'm again going to share the browser which is specific to Pichheim share. Here. Here we can see that we have lists. And we have a new list which is being built automatically for the chat of tomorrow. Of course, it's empty. The chat didn't take place, okay? But I can now put this list in public. And as soon as the chat will start, as soon as I run the replay, the analytics, the list start will fill. There's an interesting aspect of it is that you could view the chat taking place by looking at the list being built on the chat. So you could look at the chat taking place by doing a search on the hashtag, or let the system build a list of the participants, and then you can have another view of the chat by looking at all the participants that are flagged as being taking part of the chat at that time. It's interesting also because it allows to see what these participants are doing, let's say half an hour before the chat, or what are they doing the rest of the time. Like this, we can have an understanding of what are their interests in the rest of their day. Maybe they're not going to be on Pichheim chat all day long. So let's stop sharing that. I think I'm really done with the whole experience of preparing the chat. You have an idea now of how it works, of all the different operations, and you could imagine how you could apply it to something you do yourself, or how you could participate maybe in the future Pichheim chat. And I wish to thank you for all your patience of staying with me. It has been about 1 hour 50 minutes that we are broadcasting on this workout upload experience. Bye bye.